You were always supposed to go extinct millions of years ago. Imagine standing alone in the brutal freezing dark, surrounded by apex predators built for slaughter, armed with massive jaws, sharp claws, and terrifying muscle. And then there is you, a creature with absolutely no thick fur to keep you safe. You have no natural armor to protect your fragile skin because you are small, slow, and completely naked. In a world designed perfectly for killers, you are without a doubt weak alive. Think about this insanity for a second. Every single mammal on Earth was wearing heavy armor. Thick layers of fur kept them warm through freezing nights and shielded their fragile flesh from sharp branches and deadly claws. Fur was the ultimate survival suit. It was perfect camouflage hiding in the tall grass. It was insulation against the bitter freezing wind. It was a strong physical barrier between a weak body and a hostile world. And right in the middle of this brutal arena, our early ancestors did something that makes absolutely no evolutionary sense. They stripped completely naked. They threw away the only biological defense they had. Without fur, human skin is embarrassingly thin. It burns under the harsh sun. It bleeds easily when scratched. It shivers uncontrollably the very moment the temperature drops. In a wild, primitive environment, dropping your natural armor is basically a suicide mission. Imagine looking at this from the perspective of a hungry predator roaming the ancient savanna. To a massive wild cat or a giant bear, a group of early humans was just a slow, clumsy moving pile of free calories. We were not strong, we were not incredibly fast. We had no venom, no fangs, no sharp hooves to kick with, and now we did not even have hair to blend into the shadows. We were the absolute weakest targets on the menu. Evolution is supposed to be about survival of the fittest. It is a ruthless system that instantly punishes weakness and eliminates mistakes. Traits that make you vulnerable are supposed to be wiped out immediately. So why would natural selection allow a species to become completely exposed? Why would the environment strip us bare and leave us shivering in the dark while every other creature kept their warm coats? It defies all basic biological logic. We should have been the very first species to be completely erased from the planet. Being bald and soft in a wild world of teeth and muscle was the ultimate biological joke. We were standing right in the middle of the food chain, wearing absolutely nothing. For a long time, this was one of the greatest evolutionary mysteries of our existence. It genuinely felt like a massive biological mistake. But the truth is, nature never creates a crippled creature. And this nakedness was actually the beginning of a total disaster for every other animal on Earth. For decades, you were probably taught a very simple story in school. The climate slowly changed, the African savanna got hotter, and so our ancestors naturally shed their heavy fur coats to avoid overheating. Or maybe you heard that we invented clothing, so we simply did not need our own hair anymore. It sounds perfectly logical, but it is completely wrong. Evolution does not work like a person taking off a jacket on a warm afternoon. Dozens of other large mammals lived in that exact same sweltering heat, and none of them went bald. The lions, the hyenas, the baboons, they all kept their thick protective fur. This sounds entirely fake, but scientists have actually proven that our naked skin had absolutely nothing to do with passively surviving the weather. Breakthrough anthropological research revealed the naked truth about our complex biology. Losing our dense fur was never a passive reaction to a warming planet. It was an aggressive, highly calculated biological upgrade. It was deeply linked to a radical transformation in how our primate bodies managed internal heat. We did not lose our hair just to stay comfortable under the blazing sun. Instead, we shed our fur specifically to build a highly advanced full-body cooling system. We permanently traded our thick physical armor for a sophisticated internal thermal engine. We were no longer adapting just to hide from the terrifying monsters in the dark. We were stripping down to actively become the most dangerous apex predator the tall, grassy plains had ever seen. By completely removing our natural insulation, we unlocked an unbelievable level of stamina that no other animal could match. We literally weaponized our naked biology to conquer the ecosystem. To understand how this happened, you have to imagine the most brutal hunting method on the planet. Picture a blindingly hot afternoon on the ancient African savanna. The blazing sun is absolutely punishing. The surrounding temperature is so dangerously high that every major predator has immediately retreated into the dark shade. The massive lions are sleeping. The deadly leopards are hiding. Any animal wearing a massive fur coat simply cannot function in this intense midday heat without quickly suffering a fatal heat stroke. But out in the blazing sun, a bizarre creature is still moving. A small group of completely naked humans is tracking a fast antelope. The antelope is terrified and sprints away at an incredible speed. It easily outruns the weak humans in a matter of seconds, quickly disappearing over the dusty horizon. By all conventional logic, the dangerous hunt should be completely over. The humans are far too slow to ever catch it. But the humans do not give up. They simply keep moving forward at a steady, relentless jogging pace. Think about how extraordinary that is. When the wild antelope runs, its large muscles generate massive amounts of internal heat. Because it is heavily covered in thick fur, that extreme heat is trapped tightly inside its body. Its only biological way to cool down is to completely stop and breathe heavily. But right before the antelope can recover its strength, the humans quietly appear over the hill again. So the exhausted animal is forcefully pushed to sprint away once more. This brutal cycle repeats for hours. The antelope runs, rapidly overheats, and stops. The strange humans just keep coming. They never overheat, and this is exactly where our greatest evolutionary weapon is revealed. By permanently shedding our heavy fur, we fully uncovered millions of tiny sweat glands spread across our entire skin. Modern studies on human evolutionary biology confirm this bare skin and active sweating combination built an unparalleled thermal cooling engine. As the ancient humans jog under the boiling sun, their bare skin becomes heavily drenched in salty liquid sweat. The dry wind flows over their hairless bodies, immediately evaporating the moisture into the air. This constant active evaporation pulls the extreme internal heat directly out of their rushing blood. It acts exactly like a highly advanced liquid cooling system inside a high-performance machine. While the terrified antelope is slowly boiling alive inside its own thick fur, the naked human remains perfectly thermally regulated. We essentially weaponized our unique ability to sweat heavily. We aggressively became the absolute masters of endurance persistence hunting. We never needed to be the fastest sprinters on the dry, grassy plains. We just needed to be the terrifying monsters that absolutely never stopped following you. Imagine the sheer psychological terror from the pure biological perspective of the hunted wild prey. No matter how incredibly fast you run, no matter how far you try to hide, this strange hairless creature just keeps appearing right behind you. Eventually, basic internal biology takes its heavy physical toll. The exhausted antelope reaches its absolute thermal limit. Its internal core temperature spikes dangerously to a fatal level. It simply collapses heavily into the dry dirt, completely paralyzed by severe heat exhaustion. It simply cannot move a single sore muscle anymore. The naked human does not suddenly leap or aggressively pounce. They simply walk straight up to the defeated animal in total deadly silence. We conquered the violent wild not with brutal fangs or massive sharp claws, but with bare naked skin and salty liquid water. We systematically ran our terrified prey to death. And the amazing thing is, this primitive weapon never vanished. It is still operating right now, inside your body. Next time you finish a heavy workout at your local gym, stand still and look in the mirror. You are probably completely drenched in sticky sweat. It feels messy, exhausting, and slightly uncomfortable. But you are actually looking at the ultimate biological weapon. Think about your pet dog after a quick short run around the neighborhood. Your furry best friend immediately has to sit down and pant aggressively just to survive. Their tongue hangs far out, desperately trying to release massive internal heat through one single tiny surface area. They are entirely trapped inside their own thick fur coats. You do not have to do that. You can simply stand casually in front of a cooling fan. Unlike other primates or mammals that must rely heavily on rapid panting to stay alive, our unique biology took a completely different path. Our bodies are entirely covered with millions of acrine sweat glands distributed densely across all of our bare skin. While a loyal dog or a strong chimpanzee quickly overheats under intense physical stress, your naked skin magically acts as a massive external thermal radiator. Every single tiny drop of liquid evaporating directly off your bare skin is rapidly pulling dangerous heat right out of your deep internal core. This is exactly why a normal human can easily run a long marathon in the burning heat, while a powerful wild horse might just collapse and die. We completely and absolutely dominate the natural world of thermal regulation. The next time you grab a towel to wipe your wet forehead, realize you are not just wiping away dirty water. You are actively utilizing the exact same incredible biological mechanism that allowed your physically weak ancestors to outlast the most terrifying predators on Earth. All those millions of years of brutal evolution are now completely wrapped up in a simple afternoon jog in the park.